I wanted to share with you my personal and professional experience since the break of the war. I have the privilege of serving as the university's Dean of Students, and hence I would focus only on issues pertaining to student welfare. And I apologize in advance if I would be too personal. I woke up at 6:30 Saturday morning. Usually I do not use my cell over the Saturdays, but for some strange reasons I did. Then the sirens went on. We escaped to the neighbors. And I think it took me 3 or 4 hours to realize that we are facing a very unique catastrophe. And since then we are trying to face a crisis which is probably the biggest challenge in student welfare terms since the creation of the State of Israel. We took some immediate measures. First, we approached all of our students, informing them that we support them and we provide them with certain services to assist them. Then we approached all students who were conscripted to the army, informing them that we provide all support, that we would make everything to ease their return to the academic year, and we would try to be as generous as possible in providing them with financial and other assistance. We approach all the students at the university's dorms, informing them about certain benefits that would alleviate their financial hardship. We prepared this very difficult list of 200 students from the Gaza envelope and close to 45 students from the north, from villages that were evacuated during the war. We phoned each and every student. We spoke with each and every student, and we asked for the challenges, and we provide them with tailor-made solutions as far as we can. We tried to speak with each and every incoming or freshman student in order to make sure that they feel secure and that they would actually join us. We tried to phone each and every Palestinian students who are situated in a very awkward and challenging situation. We approach all of our students who pursue an exchange semester abroad. Again, they are facing different challenges, including some nasty political demonstrations. We expanded our counseling center. In normal times, we have close to 50 therapists, and we expanded the center, and we provided a free of charge hotline for students and for academic and administrative staff. And as Asha mentioned, we are in the business of trying to support the community. Both our students and academic and administrative staff are very, very busy in some of the most impressive initiatives. We assist legally and otherwise families of the hostages. We host in Mount Scopus, in Rehovot, and in Safra, some of the families from the south. We assist in various hospitals in Jerusalem and elsewhere. And some of our staff at the dental school pursue this very challenging task of identifying the dead, the identity of the dead. And we have this very, very long list of amazing activities. As Asha mentioned earlier, I joined the Asher and Tamir today. We went to the second biggest or largest civilian headquarters in Israel, which performs miracles, and they rely very, very heavily on our students and on our graduates. Since the war, I had some very, very difficult moments. I went to the equivalent of the Shiva, of Muslim Shiva, of Majid, a 19-year-old student from Abu Ghosh, whom Ishai mentioned. Majid comes from a very, very non-privileged family in the Arab village of Abu Ghosh. He was the star of his family. He was admitted to the School of Computer Sciences. I wouldn't be able to be admitted there, and my brilliant kids wouldn't, but he was. And he was about to commence his studies on the 14th of October. and he died on the night between the 13th and the 14th. And I went to the Muslim Shiva and met his father, Ziad. He's my age. I looked at his eyes. I saw the sorrow, and I couldn't offer any words of assistance. I spoke also with Ophir, whose grandmother and a student of us, her grandmother and grandfather were abducted, and now they are now in Gaza. And when I speak with her, I think of my beloved late grandmother, who escaped Bialystok a minute before the Nazis went in. I spoke with Amit from Kibbutz Yad Mordechai, a brilliant student from nursing. I phoned her just to support her, and I discovered during the conversation that she actually supports me. And she said to me that she's not in En Gedi with her kibbutz, but she actually went to a hospital in Netanya because she's a nursing student, and she thought that she could assist there. I spoke with Eli, a student of us from Safra, from the Safra campus. His brother, Eviatar, is in Gaza. I spoke with him and thought about my brother. I spoke with another student who saw how his mother was rescued under fire, and I thought about my mom. And I spoke with Shai Dickman, a brilliant fourth-year medicine student, a very brave and impressive human being. She's a student of us, and her cousin, Carmel Gat, who's also a student of us, a master student at occupational therapy. She was abducted, and now she's in Gaza. And this is Carmel, and we are all committed to do, or to modestly contribute to her release. I believe that we are facing three major challenges. The first challenge is the fear that some students would actually not join us. The third challenge is the first day of the academic year and the tension, or the potential tension. I would try to skip the two challenges and leave a third one to our esteemed Muna. I would focus on the second challenge, a very, very difficult challenge. We all predict that there would be economic challenges, emotional challenges, and academic challenges of all students, in particular those who would return from the war. And my fear is that the combination of these challenges might or would create a potential risk of an increased rate of dropouts. Actually, throughout the recent years, the university has succeeded in incrementally, slowly but surely, reducing the dropout rates, and we are very concerned about a change of trend. And in that respect, I can think of maybe 5 vulnerable groups. The first are the students who would return from the war. The second are students from the south and north. The third are students who were in particular adversely affected by the war. The fourth group are students, our students who are abroad. And the fifth group is the usual suspects, namely Orthodox students, Palestinian students, students from an Ethiopian background, new immigrants, and first-generation students. And I believe, and I think that the phrase solution is maybe too pompous. I would really find it as a potential instruments of intervention. I think that we can adopt those 3 measures. First is providing generous support, financial support for those who are of need. The second is to enhance our comprehensive system of tutoring in order to address any academic challenges and reduce dropout rates. And the third is to expand the counseling center and increase the accessibility unit. The counseling center is obvious, but the accessibility unit is a small and professional unit. During normal times, it assists close to 1,000 students with physical disabilities, emotional disabilities, and grave chronic illnesses, and we expect that the numbers would increase. And we do plan to increase this unit in order to provide effective remedy and solutions and assistance to the students who would return from the war. I wanted to conclude with a long personal note. It's my 6th year as the Dean of Students, and nothing in this role or in my life prepared me for this challenge. You have to zigzag between your professional challenges and your domestic challenges. We have at home a 13-year-old boy who doesn't like the sirens, and it's very difficult to zigzag between your professional and domestic challenges. And as a bonus, we have to face the fact that some of the most basic or axiomatic assumptions that underline our lives in Israel were undermined. As Asher mentioned, the comfort is that we are not alone, and I receive every day emails of support from colleagues and students and friends and foreigners from all over the world. And I myself was born in Israel only 7 years after my parents immigrated to Israel from South Africa and from Argentina. And Israel gave me a lot. It gave me a home and feeling of identity and meaning and pride, and gave me a good education system and a good health system. And as a footnote, I can also add that the Hebrew University did similar things to me. But as Asher mentions in many events, the Hebrew University was very instrumental in supporting the flourishing Zionist movement and in state building exercise. And now we are facing a different challenge, and I believe, I'm not a prophet, I do not have any strategic advice, but I believe that we would prevail both in the north and in the south. But I still believe that the biggest challenge is not the external one, but the internal one. And personally, I think that the socio-political status that prevailed on the eve of the 7th of October is not sustainable. And I think that we have to reconstruct our state as a stronger state, as a democratic state, as a liberal state, as a peace-seeking state, and as a state that is committed to equality and excellence, a state that is led by leaders who perceive themselves as public servants. And our students are the best, not only in academic terms, but also in terms of leadership and community involvement. And I believe that in the near future, they would have to carry the burden of this very difficult exercise of reconstructing our state. For the time being, I think it's our duty to support them, our students, the students who would return from the war with all the difficulties. And I believe that the investment in them is the best and smartest investment that one can have in financial terms or terminology. They call it, I believe, Ishai, ROI, return on investment. So I believe that investing in our students would have the best ROI that you can imagine. So I hope that we will meet soon physically, and I hope to be able to celebrate with Eli the return of Eviatar and with Shai the return of Carmel. Thank you very much.